For Reaper Metal Productions, I am Adam of Unbaptized Records, making a brand new video for you today. Today I'm going to do something similar to what I did with my cartoons short video that wasn't a planned scheduled weekly video. I'm going to do a multi-part series of random albums and bands that I've been listening to, and I'm going to go through some bands that you probably haven't heard of, just to give you an idea of some of the things I like that maybe are a little bit less mainstream. I know some of the recent videos I went through some bigger bands on Relapse and Metal Blade Records, so a lot of bands you probably have heard of and people in the underground don't necessarily like, which is cool because you know what? Everyone likes what they like. I tend to like a lot of the more mainstream stuff, but there's plenty of more underground and lesser known bands I do listen to. So that's what I'm going to go over today. Part one of a many part series. Today is going to be all CDs, so probably how I'm going to go about it in the future is I'm going to keep everything on the same platform, same style of media. So go through a bunch of CDs of bands that I have that I like, and then maybe next video will be a bunch of tapes or 7 inches, and then LPs, and then maybe back to CDs. But it'll be a multi-part running series. Don't know how many I'll do, but this is part one. So without any further ado, with my assistant right here behind me, get to my stack. I have about 11 CDs. So first off is band Fetid Zombie. You may or may not have heard of them, but you've definitely heard of the artist and the man behind the band, the guitarist, and I think backing vocalist. See right here, okay. Rhythm, guitar, bass, and synth. Sorry, Mark Riddick. So you all may know him for his art, but you may not know that he has his own band, multiple releases. I think I have this tape, and there's also a split. Believe that he did with Hell Ripper. So this is pretty good. It's short, it's just 4 songs. Vocals kind of remind me a little bit of old John Tardy. Fairly unique otherwise, doesn't sound like a whole lot. Definitely recommend picking this up. This is called Death Covenant. Pretty cool. There's not a ton of Fetid Zombie releases, but I definitely recommend grabbing at least one. So start with that one. Next, we have a string of bands from the Ohio area. I think actually all just Ohio, not just the area. Faith Extractor. So first video I ever did was wearing a Faith Extractor shirt. This is Ash Thomas from a bunch of other bands, including Estuary. He was a part of Machinations of Fate, part of Shed the Skin, which we may or may not see in a few seconds. And also the Vladimirs, which I'm not a really big fan of, horror punk. But this is awesome. Great death metal band from Ohio. They have 4 albums. I think they're working on a 5th currently. I think they actually said it's done. It should be out on Redefining Darkness maybe later this year or next year. Great old school style death metal, a little bit doom mixed in there. I think Ash's vocals are awesome. So this is amazing. If you don't know Faith Extractor, I don't know what you're doing with yourself. Another band you may or may not have heard of out of Ohio is Kernigia. This is, I think, 1 or 2 releases that they've done. They're full lengths. This is Forlorn and Forsaken. I also have the LP, and shout out to Brian Bergeron because he had the whole band sign it for me. So maybe I'll show that copy off at some point. But great death metal band. Not a ton of releases, a couple of 7 inches, and I think like maybe a full length and a mini CD, and that's about it. This is the band I mentioned in one of my videos that I accidentally picked up the black metal version of the band. So this is the band I really wanted to buy, and I'm glad I have this release, and I think every release by them. So great death metal. Most of this pile is death metal, so of course you can imagine the next band, Shed the Skin, death metal. Again, great death metal from Ohio. I think maybe 5 or 6 albums out. Again, just great death metal. That's all I can really say. If you haven't heard of them, definitely pick them up. I can't recommend them anymore. Now, one of the few metal bands besides Hatebreed from Connecticut most people probably don't know is the band Evolution. And the only relation it does have to Hatebreed is the fact that I think the one and only band that was put out on Jamie Josta's label back in the day was this band. So I actually picked this up pretty recently. This came out in like 95. This band was around from 89 to 99. And again, one of the few bands I know from Connecticut. This is a great release. If you can get your hands on it, Shine of Desecration. They pretty much only released like 2 demos, and this is either a comp of this or just one of the demos, but this is essentially all they really have and pretty much all you're going to find on them. Now, a band with many other names related to it is the band Ghost. Not the band Ghost you're probably thinking of. This is the technical death metal band from Poland, Ghost, called album's called Lost, the Lost of Mercy. I think it's a bit of a misspelling, probably from someone whose English isn't their first language. Which, by the way, I talk. Maybe it sounds like I'm the same, but this is a great technical death metal band. They only have, I think, 2 releases. I believe this is their second, but I'm not positive. But I came across this kind of by accident because the band Ghost is obviously really popular, and I found this. I absolutely love it. Great early '90s technical death metal. Couldn't recommend it more. This is a great pickup, and if you haven't heard of it, definitely a great release. Another early '90s death metal band that I had never heard of. But I believe this was actually something I had gotten from Reaper, maybe as a giveaway, I believe, but the band Illbred. So great early '90s brutal death metal. This is a double disc, pretty much includes everything I believe that they've done. So it's a '98 release, a '94 demo, a '93 demo, and some more releases from '93, and then live in '94 and '90, either 6 or 8, I can't tell, but all '90s stuff. Early '90s, late '90s death metal. A band you probably haven't heard of, but if you can get your hands on Illbred, Ilbred, definitely worth picking them up. Now, slightly different from all the recent death metal releases is this band Mayhemic. So if you can't see by the logo, it's Mayhemic. Album's called The Darkest Age. This is like I would say, Black Death thrash from South America, very much in the style of like your Slot Baths or your early Sepulturas. I know a lot of people who like this stuff tend to like absolutely everything out of there, so I highly recommend this. So if you can get your hands on this, it's a great release. I think definitely worth grabbing, and I think my cat agrees. All right, next is the band Black Knife. This is a fairly new band. They're like kind of like a punky thrash type band, almost in the same vein as like maybe a Midnight or a Hell Ripper or something. They're a great band. This album actually just came out on vinyl, and I learned about this because of an interview with Dawn of the Dead. He was wearing one of their shirts, and he recommended them, so I checked them out, and I pretty much grabbed everything by them. This is their newest album called Baby Eater Witch, and like I said, this just came out on LP. So if you like the album, definitely go grab it on LP. Huge shout out to these guys, Black Knife. I grabbed a bunch of releases by them when I heard about them, grabbed a patch. I think I have some stickers and everything too. So definitely worth checking out if you like that sort of Midnight, Hammer, Hell Ripper type music. I think you'll like them as well. Okay, one of the only, actually the only black metal band on this list. This is more of a experimental black metal band, a very odd one. This is one that I came across by accident. Got a few 7-inches by them, 7-inch splits. That's essentially all they have in a 12-inch. And I grabbed this CD because it's a comp. They're called Funerary Box. Very different sounding band compared to most of the stuff I listen to. I definitely recommend this because it includes everything, and I don't know if it's because of the band's lack of identity or whatever, but they don't have very many releases, and most of the releases they have are very inexpensive. So if you're curious to see if you like it or not, listen to a few songs. Again, it is very outside of my normal range of music, but that's kind of why I want to show it off, because it's so different from what I usually get, that maybe it'll surprise people that I like this kind of stuff. Because if you're thinking, well, he likes mainstream death metal bands, why would he like some weird esoteric black metal stuff? Hey, you never know. I like a little bit of everything. So definitely check these guys out. And this includes 29 songs, I think probably their entire discography. And I imagine you could probably pick it up on Discogs for like $8. And then last but not least, we're going to circle back to death metal here with the band Lord Gore. I absolutely love this band. I believe this is a Razorback band, so shout out to Billy, Razorback Records. I know he no longer does it, but I actually did a fairly recent pickup of about 20 of his albums that he did. He did a sales like 20 CDs for $50, so maybe I can go over that in a video, but those are some great releases in there. including things like Dr. Shrinker and, of course, this band, Lord Gore, Vault Wraith, stuff like that. But this is great. I really don't know how to describe it. It's one of those bands that just has a lot of interesting styles to it. Kind of similar to when I mentioned Gospel of the Horns. It kind of reminds me of the To Serve Man era of Cow Decapitation, which to some people maybe a turnoff, but I'm telling you, just go ahead and listen to this album. Love everything about it, even the album art. It's just weird and it's just gory, fun death metal. I think you're going to like it. And that's it for now. So stick around for part 2, part 3, a bunch of different parts. Maybe next time I'll try to do LPs or maybe touch on the 7-inch records I have, because I really don't go through a lot of those. But I think it's definitely worth doing that. And a quick shout out to the band Exhumed. This just came in the mail today. So it's their DVD of their documentary here. It's a 2-part DVD. So if you're a fan of Exhumed, definitely recommend grabbing this as well. So that's all I have for you. Let me know in the comments if you know of any of those bands, and if you like any of them or if you hate any of them. And I'll see you in the next video.